What's up, everyone? Welcome to the video. We are here talking prize picks for week 5 of the NFL season. Just looking at 3 of the props that stood out to me the most as of right now on Saturday morning. Some of these lines can change by the time you are viewing this, so if they do, I apologize. But if you have any questions about what my thoughts are, if they do end up moving, leave it down in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to answer you. Anyway, if this is your first time here, what's up? My name is Chris Pennell. I break down NASCAR and NFL DFS each and every single week on this channel. I'm also a contributor over on Stochastic, so if you see my face before, maybe that's the reason why I look familiar to you. And I also like to dabble into the prize pick streets. I live in Florida. We cannot legally bet here, so this is kind of my workaway around it. But a super fun site to play on. Highly recommend it, and I'm sure you already play on it because that's why you're here. But if for some reason you haven't, and this is your first time playing over on PrizePicks, do me a favor. You can use the link down below and use promo code CPEM when you sign up, and you can get an instant deposit match bonus up to $100. There is no strings attached. It is free money. Use it to your advantage, either using the link down below or head over to PrizePicks.com. And if you do end up enjoying today's free content, the only thing I ask in return, if you can leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell if you're brand new. We are getting close to 10,000 subscribers. Absolutely awesome. Truly do appreciate it. And feel free to leave a comment down below saying whatever you wanted to say. Just try not to make it too mean because I still have feelings. But I think that's it for the plug. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And the first prop that we are going to look at is the Dalvin Cook rushing prop of 77.5 rushing yards. DraftKings currently has him listed at 76.5. But he's also at minus 130 to hit the over on that. And this is a fantastic spot for Dalvin Cook to have a breakout game. I know he hasn't been terrible, but for DFS or fantasy purposes, you certainly have not been happy with the output you got from Dalvin Cook this year, especially from where you drafted him or for what you paid for him in DFS. But this is a week I am hopping on board on PrizePicks and for DFS purposes because this is the perfect spot versus the Chicago Bears. They're 7.5 point favorites at home in the Dome, a near 26 point implied team total. And while Cook's numbers on the season aren't fantastic, he's still getting volume, nearly 16 carries per game, just under 70 rushing yards, and a 4.4 yards per carry clip. Only 1 touchdown though, but we don't need a touchdown on PrizePicks. We just need to hit this rushing prop of 77.5 yards. But this is a great matchup versus the Bears. They are currently 24th versus the run this year, which I know we are dealing with smaller sample sizes this season, but I do not expect the Bears' run defense to be anything special this season. And they're also 24th in fantasy points allowed per game, the running back position, and allowing nearly 130 rushing yards per game. And over on PFF, they currently have the Bears' rush defense graded out as the 4th worst unit in the entire league. So Dalvin Cook, I think this is a great week to hop on board before some of these props or even DFS prices get inflated in the following weeks. And this really is the perfect game script because anytime you can get a running back that's over a touchdown favorite at home, and his offensive line versus defensive line run blocking advantage per PFF this week, I believe is second best, only behind the Browns versus the Los Angeles Chargers. So Cook, he's checking all the boxes for me this week. Not a huge start in the passing game, but we don't need that. We just need the rushing yards, and I think he can certainly get the century mark this week. And moving over to our second prop, this is a guy I targeted a lot last year, and most of the time he did pull through. He was extremely consistent, and I love this game from a DFS perspective, and I'm certainly playing him a lot in tournaments and even cash games this week. But it's Chris Godwin, wide receiver of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I love this spot versus Atlanta, and while they do have one of the best pass coverage defenses per PFF, AJ Terrell mainly stays on the perimeter. I believe he's only played in the slot around 5% of the time this year, which is perfect. Maybe not so perfect for Mike Evans. I still have interest in him this week for DFS because I don't care too much about matchups. But avoiding AJ Terrell, I would say, is going to be a decent thing for Chris Godwin this week. It's a small sample size, but he has played in the slot in 76% of his snaps this year. And he did go over this 12-point fantasy prop they're offering over on PrizePicks this week 10 out of 15 times last season. So I feel like we're going to be sitting pretty good. I think this number is a little bit too low. If you think about it, that's 6 catches for 60 yards, hitting 12 points. I certainly think he has the upside for more. He did have 10 targets last week for 7 catches. Didn't kill it in the yardage department. I believe he had 59 yards. But I'm liking the spot here. Godwin, he looks healthy, I guess. He did get banged up earlier in the year, and then last week he had to leave the game for a little bit, but came back off the injury report. If Chris Godwin's going to be fully healthy, good to go, he should see close to double-digit targets, and there's always going to be a chance for a touchdown, and I'm loving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in general this week. One of the highest implied team totals on the slate. They're playing at home. Godwin should feast. Mike Evans could potentially have a good game as well, but I'm looking to target all these bucks, but I feel like this number on Godwin is just a bit too low this week. And currently the Falcons do sit at 17th DVA versus the pass and 26th in fantasy points allowed per game to the wide receiver position, which does equate to 175 yards specifically to wide receivers. And we know where the targets are going in this offense. It's going to be Mike Evans. It's going to be Chris Godwin. We have Cameron Brate hurt. Yes, I know they have, I believe his name is Otten or whatever it is. I don't really care. I'm not playing him, although he is really cheap on DraftKings if you want to play him. And then Leonard Fournette's going to get some passes out of the backfield. So it's going to be very funneled. I have him projected for 17.5 points. That is way over his mark at 12 points on PrizePicks. And moving on to our third prop, and yes, I know there is a light directly on my forehead, and it feels like I'm about to get sniped somewhere, so hopefully that's not too bothersome, but at least it's not in my eye. Either way, we're looking at the Chris Olave prop that's currently sitting at 63.5 yards on PrizePicks. Also the same over on DraftKings, but I like it a lot. No Michael Thomas this week, and they're facing the atrocious Seattle Seahawks defense, who just gave up a bajillion points to the Detroit Lions of all teams that didn't even have their best players in DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown. They had some other injuries as well. And the ball's going to go somewhere in this offense, and it's going to be Alvin Kamara, it's going to be Chris Olave, and I think the Saints, even with Andy Dalton at quarterback, should be able to move the ball here at home in the Superdome. But this is a great spot for Olave. He's went over this prop in 3 out of 4 games so far this season. And once you take Michael Thomas out of the equation, this is a guy that saw 8 targets in week 1, 9 targets in week 2, and 5 targets in week 3. It's just going to be a boost for these guys. And Chris Olave is definitely the most talented of the bunch. I love him a lot. He actually leads the league in air yards right now by a decent margin too. I believe the guy in second place is about 100 yards behind him. So the opportunity has certainly been there for him. Obviously, Jameis Winston's been a quarterback, but we still had Andy Dalton last week, and Olave was fine. But we're talking 84 yards per game for him this season. Nearly 9 targets, just over 5 catches, a 26% target share. But again, take out Michael Thomas. That's just going to be a boost for targets here. A 68% weighted opportunity share and a massive 42% market share of the team's air yards with 673 in the season and an ADOT of 18.7. So Olave's in an excellent spot. You add in the fact that it's a great matchup and they're at home in a dome. You don't have to worry about any weather. And the Seattle Seahawks are currently 32nd DVA versus the pass and the second worst graded pass coverage unit on PFF as of right now. Now, oddly enough, versus wide receivers, they haven't been terrible in the fantasy point department, but they're still allowing nearly 150 passing yards per game, or I should say receiving yards per game, specifically to wide receivers, but allowing the 9th fewest points per game to the position. But that's all kind of noisy to me. If you're playing cash games on DraftKings this week, I'd highly recommend getting Chris Olave. I'm projecting him currently to be one of the highest owned players on the entire slate. But for PrizePicks, like the 63.5 number, I think it's a bit too low, and I'm looking forward to him taking on the Seattle defense. With that being said, that's all I got for you guys this week. Hopefully you enjoyed. I apologize for not being able to record a video last weekend, but the hurricane kind of derailed some plans here, but we're back. Good to go. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those down below in the comment section. And if you did enjoy today's video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, as we are getting very close to 10K. I truly do appreciate all the support. And don't forget to use promo code CPEN if you are a new signee over on PrizePicks. And if you do want access to all the DFS content that I do, post videos that you can check out. I'll try to put it right around here somewhere. And I do have premium content with projections, cheat sheets, optimizers, all that fun stuff. Come in, check it out. I think you will enjoy. I wish you all the best of luck, and I'll see you all next time.